Well, Americans give $300 billion to charities each year. That's over 2% of our entire GDP. 50% of those charitable donations happen right now in the fourth quarter. So with so many questions, though, looming about how the tax rate may be changing, we wanted to find out whether that's influencing the level of donations. Kim Wright-Violich is president of Schwab Charitable. She joins me right now. Kim, thanks for coming in.
Sure. Happy to be here.
The top 3% of this country are responsible for about 70% or more of charitable giving that happens. These are the same people who are worried about their taxes going up. Is there a reason to wait?
No. There is no reason to wait. They still have income in 2010. They've still made charitable commitments in 2010. They still need a deduction in 2010, and actually the market's up. And most of the wealthy are giving appreciated securities. So since the market's up, this is actually not a bad time at all to give.
So how are people giving? I mean, is the method of donation changing? Donating a stock, writing a check?
It is changing. People are getting more and more sophisticated because even though 70% of all giving comes from the most affluent, 65% of all Americans give, whether you're affluent or not. And still, most people give cash. But the smartest thing to do is to try and take advantage of two elements of the tax code. If you give to charity, you get a charitable deduction. But if you give appreciated securities, you can avoid the capital gains tax.
Yeah, well, obviously, a key also as we start to consider what might be changing in the tax code there. I mean, when we look at some of the information, particularly from B of A Merrill Lynch that I was just reading earlier, it shows that the level of investors' portfolios has really rebounded from the crisis years, but the amount that they're donating hasn't. Why?
I think that that's old information that you're seeing in that study because at Schwab Charitable we have seen a 274% increase if you look at January through September compared to January through September last year. So I think what that study is reflecting is last year. There's no question that the fourth quarter in 08 was very bad. 2009 was not quite as bad, but certainly the first quarter of 09 was particularly bad. I think this year actually is going to be pretty good. I don't think it'll be up to the levels it was in 2007, which was the peak.
Right, we're still not back to pre-crisis giving.
And there may be some people that are procrastinating a little to let the dust settle on the tax situation, but for the most part, I think we're gonna have a very good year.
When you're talking about the methods through which you can give, you also make a business in this donor-advised fund structure. Can you explain that?
Sure. In fact, this is the fastest growing way for most Americans to give, and it's like a charitable savings account, or it is like a digital version of a private foundation that's accessible to a more average level of affluence. So somebody can give appreciated securities or cash. They put it into a charitable account. They get a tax deduction immediately, and they can lock that in before the end of the year and make the decision pretty much up to the last minute. And then they can give the money to charity over time. When you put the money in the account, it's irrevocably committed to charity, or you wouldn't get the tax deduction. But you can separate the tax decision from the charitable decision.
And you can string that out over a number of years in terms of when you take the deduction?
That's correct. And the money stays invested and is growing for charity while you're waiting to pick charities to give it to.